vlogsters. The first cup of coffee is like, if you're a coffee drinker, you know what I mean. But if you're not a coffee drinker, there's got to be something, whether it's like orange juice or hot tea, or like even if you're just hot cocoa, any hot beverage that you drink like on a cool morning. Well, it's very, very dank out. It's actually cooler in the house. It's starting to get a little warm and muggy out there today with the rain, but you know that first, like, there's a chill in the air and you just have that first warm something that it's like a hug. Oh man. Hi. Before anybody asks, this is a nightgown. It's from Lane Bryant circa 2004. But it is gotten really short. You know, it's funny because I haven't really talked about clothes on the channel. I mean, like try-ons and stuff, but not my personal experience with clothes. I don't think I've really talked much about that. But the way my body is I'm built, I'm 5'6" 3/4", and I'm going to own it. I own that 1/4 inch. So I'm not proportioned, like, I'm proportioned like this way, evenly. What I mean is I'm very tall in the torso and I have very short legs. I get that from my dad. So a lot of times tops is a problem when they shrink long ways, because then, you know, I'll be like midriff, or they not landing the way they should, or you know, if it's asymmetrical and then the split is up too high. Like, it's just all these different things go wrong, which is why I really don't dry any of my clothes. I dry underwear, bras. Some bras are like hand wash. I dry underwear, bras, and pajamas. And not always every pajamas either, but like definitely not my lingerie, you know, that doesn't go in the dryer. But even as far as like pajama pants and like sets or whatever, because if they shrink, I'm not really concerned, you know what I mean. But I don't wear that much. I don't wear that many pajama sets to bed. I don't like pants. And I don't know if a lot of you will like that too. Nightgowns are okay, but I don't like the pants when I sleep. I feel like my pants get twisted and they're strangling my legs. Leg strangle. But I know I've touched on it a little bit from here and there. First of all, a quick update. The local not representative, but the person who is here in Rolla, who helps with the healthcare.gov like enrollment stuff, has reached back out to me. I have a we're gonna call her tomorrow, do like a over the phone assistance thing that we can do because we're all stuck. So that's good. I just wanted to give you guys an update on that. For right now, I've gathered up whatever I think I need, so that when I have talked to her, I'll have it ready. But then we have gotten like like most current like 2019 tax stuff, and then we got like our kind of like our family folder that has all like the important documents in there, and we've got them ready to sit down with her, so we don't have to like run in here and get it. We just have that stuff. We might still have to run in here for stuff, but you know what I mean. So that being said, I really didn't talk about clothes much. I know that I've touched on the subject here and there, like I say it in jest, but at the time it was very I think okay. Hi, good morning. Did you ever get that way? Too many thoughts. My brain is going way faster than my mouth. My most difficult time for clothing wise was as an adolescent. So up until I was like 11 or 12, I was really wore like hand-me-downs. I've mentioned in the past that we would go back to school shopping. We would each get to pick out an outfit, like one nice new pair of pants, one nice new shirt, a new pair of shoes. My mother was very encouraging, but to say like, don't get something that fits you fantastic in September, because it might not fit you back in January. Certain years, like she knew when growth spurts happened and stuff. So the first day of school, you always wanted to wear whatever. And we lived, in the Northeast, it's cold in the winter. So it starts getting cold around Halloween, and it's cold really up until St. Patrick's Day. So she would also encourage us to get like a new sweater or like, something warm. And of course, the first day of school, you want to wear your new clothes. So we would wear I'd be in like jeans and a sweatshirt, and it'd be like, Labor Day. Be sweating my hiney off. But you still, you do what you do. But the big problem that I had was or I talked about in the past, was so they had a dance at the 8th grade. In the school that I went to, elementary was till 6th. Junior high school, it was what at the time was 7th and 8th, and then you went on to high school. So 8th grade, we had like a graduation and a dance and everything. So the 8th grade dance was like trying to find a nice dress. So obviously it wasn't like a prom gown, but you wanted to look nice, and you get a new dress and everything. And I don't think I have the picture anymore. But if I do, I'll probably try to share it on social media. But they took your picture, like there, and you could see that I was like sweating, and it was a mess. But when I went shopping for it, we had stores in New York. There was Roman's, that's kind of like the catalog. And then there was, it was called Sizes Unlimited, I feel like. I'm not really sure when that store was open, but all of these like plus size stores at the time, and this is 1984, because I graduated from middle school in 84. They didn't really have plus size young people's clothes. And I know I've mentioned that before, so this is just my fashion journey. So really up until that point, I did like fashion. I did have a fashion sense, but I didn't have that kinds of choices. So what I became more of like what I felt like in myself was like a little bit of a fashion innovator. My favorite shirt to wear in like freshman year of high school was my brother had I think he had actually gotten it from somebody, but then wore it as a joke, for a Halloween costume or whatever. But he had a French cuffed mauve pink ruffled tuxedo shirt. And I know now that I was very ahead of my time. No, I'm kidding. I'm very kidding. But I used to love to wear that. I used to love to wear that shirt. I just felt like, I guess it was my style, and I didn't even know it at the time, But then around the middle school, it's when I started babysitting. So I had like $5 or $10. But when you first, I can't even describe to you, when you grow up not being able to get the things that you want when you want them. And I don't mean being spoiled, but not even so to kids today, and I don't want to say kids of privilege, because that's not even right, but kids today, you say, your mom, I want that. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to go clean your room. At least you have a hope that you can get it. You have a way to access it. You have a way that eventually you could have it. But when we were growing up, it wasn't really like that. It wasn't really like you had the hope that you may, you might never ever get that. So when I first started babysitting, had my own little pocket money, the first, I don't know, maybe even a whole year, because it was only $10 a week. It wasn't a ton of money. Probably for the first year, I just spent that on stuff that I really never was able to get. lip gloss. You know, I was 12, so what is stickers? Whatever 12-year-olds are after kind of thing. I remember buying my Superman t-shirt. My sister Alicia worked at TSS, and if you're from the Northeast, you kind of know. It stood for Times Square Stores, so it's TSS for short. And she worked at the t-shirt making place. You know, like, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in like the 80s, there was, you know, putting those little velvet letters all over. And yeah, you got to pick out a thing. You know, I mean, they still have them occasionally, but it was like a big thing then. So I was really into Superman, and Christopher Reeve I thought was just like the bee's knees. So I got Superman on a t-shirt that eventually got so small for me that I cut it out and I put it in a photo album. Like I had a little Superman scrapbook out of a photo album. But I like saved up my money for that. I would use my money for that. Stuff that I just normally couldn't get. Of course, like candy, penny candy and stuff like that, because, you know, sweets. But when I became like that age where I started to like, I guess, really puberty, really like started to come into my own, and my body was changing, and who was it going to be? What was it going to look like? What was I going to be like? I was still like I am now. You know, I'm not internally, I want to be a tomboy. Externally, I want to be a girly girl. Like, I was really into my sports when I was in middle school. But what I found was very comfortable is because even when I was younger, and, you know, let's go back to this too, if you don't know. I was a rainbow baby. My mother had a stillborn a year before I was born. I'm not saying that this is the reason that I never was thin in my whole life, but I just feel like I just got fed all the junk. But I'm sure it's genetics too. But I was just like a fat baby. I was a fat toddler. I was a fat child. Like, it just went, I never really had a thin day or an average day even, to put it matter of factly. So when I was, that puberty kicked in and my body was changing, and I was now the same size as like my sister Julie. My sister Julie's more petite. She's not as tall. She's a few inches shorter than me, and she's petite. So I had gotten to like the point where I'd caught up to her size, but then I kept growing. So I didn't have the same sort of hand-me-downs anymore that like they stopped at Julie, but she was still wearing some stuff. Just to give you an idea, she got an outfit for her 6th grade from Christmas. I think it was for Christmas she got it. And it was this beautiful outfit. It had like a little white shirt with a little ruffled collar and a little like black velvet like bow tie, and this cute little black skirt with little red flowers on it. And she was in 6th grade and I was in 3rd, and we both wore the same outfit to our class pictures. That's how little she was compared to me. Okay. So anyway, when I started to grow, and then I was like, well, my parents couldn't afford to buy me new jeans. Jeans were expensive. I wasn't comfortable in them like ever. I shouldn't say ever. As an adult, I had this period where I was like jeans every day, but I wasn't really comfortable in them when I was growing up. They weren't made for my body. I had like thighs and belly. Like, I felt like at the time you could get like jeans that accommodated big butts and then jeans that accommodated big bellies, but not like never the twain shall meet. So I was in sweatpants. No joke. Sweatpants were cheap. I mean, they still are. I would take the sweatpants into the thing where my sister did, and I got a pair personalized. I think I mentioned that I love monograms now because I never had anything personalized when I was growing up. And not never. So, you know, stuff got made for me. But like when my mom would go on trips, she'd bring back something with everybody's name on it except mine. She even found Alicia at one place. So that was different. But I had like this like beige colored I say beige, but it was really like the beige part of khaki, you know what I mean? Like that sandstone, excuse me, like sand maybe. And I had my name written down the leg, and I must have worn them every other day through like freshman year or whatever. But that's what it is. I lived in sweatpants. So I never really got to express my fashion until I actually started working. So I expressed it in a way like I could, I should say, you know, with what I had. Kind of like crafting. You do what you can with what you have. But when I started working, all bets were off. I was able to actually like really buy what I wanted to. Now, my parents were really good about teaching us about responsibilities around the house. When we started working, we would be responsible to pay the water bill, which was roughly around $90 every 3 months. And what my mom really liked about that was, well, besides that it helped out the house, is that because it was due every 3 months, you had to learn to either economize and save $30 a month or go like that 1 week without a paycheck because you put the whole thing into your bills. And it was such a great lesson. It really was. Like, you talk about like, you know, the balance and savings and all that stuff. So it's really good. But, you know, I think one of the reasons that I like things, well, first of all, I know I like things to be here because my dad was an Eagle Scout actually. And when he at home, where he worked was like in the dining room. Like, he didn't have a workshop or anything, but he worked in the dining room, and he sat in front of the china cabinet, and around him was just, you know, you need something repaired, I need to build a lore, you know, like whatever, we need to sharpen a stone, like, I mean, sharpen a knife, whatever it was like right there by him. And that's how I feel. Like, I feel like, you know, it's just, that's why everything is right here all the time. But the fact that I like to have things is that always be prepared motto. Like, we just were like, I was the go-to. I felt like if I couldn't have kids, I was going to be the person that, you know, oh, you got a new house? You need some curtains? Let's see what we got. Because I would buy them on clearance, and I would put them in the storage bin and stuff like that. So I just was, you know, it's just what it is. So, but when I started, where did that come from? When I started working, oh, paying bills and stuff. Right, I gotcha. So I started working. I was responsible for a bill at home, and then I had whatever, the rest of the money was to do with whatever I wanted to. When I started working, I started having a social life, other than outside of like the marching band. So I was in the marching band, and I wasn't in the lead group or whatever, but as I became older, I started to get more included, but we didn't really socialize out. Like, we didn't go out and spend money or whatever. But when I started working, it was going out to work to the diner after the shift. Who wants to go to the diner and just hang and go to the movies and go over so-and-so's house? We're going to bring food over to so-and-so's house, whatever it was. But so a lot of my money went towards that. But I also started buying clothes. I actually have, that I think I just gave my niece, which I have to ask her about that. I bought an actual denim jacket from the Gap, and it was, you know, I was plus size, so it was an extra large men's. But what I did was I cropped it down, so it would look more feminine. Plus, I was very hippie, so I took the binding off the bottom, cut it, and then put the binding back up. And I hand sewed it because I didn't have a sewing machine at the time. But it actually was kind of easy to hand sew denim, because I went through all of the exact holes that the stitches, like, you could see the holes that the machine did. So that ended up being pretty easy, a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. But But that was like my big thing. I got a Champion sweatshirt, which if you're big in the, you know, if you know, you know. So that was like the kind of things that I did fashion wise, and I started to branch out. I always wanted to get something from Benetton, but boy, was that expensive. That was like 2 whole paychecks just to buy like a polo shirt from Benetton. I'm like, a lot of the kids that I worked with, it's funny because I worked at a grocery store, and there were rich kids whose parents said, go get your job so you can have your own money. And then there were poor kids whose parents were like, if you want anything, you got to go get a job. And I know that that sounds like the same thing, but it's really not. Because a lot of times the rich kids, they got money, and it wasn't for like clothes. It was just to spend, like pocket money or whatever. But we were like, oh yeah, I need new shoes. I need new sneakers for school. And then we'd go and get whatever. Anyway, the story's all over the place, but it's not. It's all focused on fashion. So when I was a teenager, that's when I really started to discover like what my look was going to be, or how, that's when I discovered how good I looked in red. And I'm not just saying that because I'm wearing red today, but when my cousin got married, the Avenue was already open. So this was like, I think I was 16, 15. I want to say I was 15. Yeah, she got married before I turned 16. So I was 15, and we went to the Avenue, and they started to have like nicer clothes. I found this great dress. It was like so 80s. I hope I had I was hoping I had a picture. But it was sort of like, it was like a red satin dress, and it had like and it was only midi length, you know, like below the knee. And it had a V-neck, but it had like this big piece of fabric that went from this shoulder back around this side. Well, actually, it went from this shoulder and then looped around back to this shoulder. And then I had another one that crossed over. And the reason I said actually is because it was designed for them to crisscross. So it was designed to go like around this way and back here, and then this way around back here. But I actually wore them. I wore it like both ways. I also took them and just hung them down like this. I actually wore it to 2 different weddings, 2 different cousins, and I wore them differently with different hair, different shoes, and different accessories. Oh, I remember my big purchase, my Whitney Houston earrings. So if you ever saw the video of I Believe the Children Are Our Future, that one, she has these gigantic like spider web, they're like wiry spider webs, and they had crystals all over them. I found a knockoff at the flea market, and I love them. But when we started to dance, I had my hair down, and when we started to dance, they were just like full of like getting caught on all the hair. So I took them off, and I put them in a coffee cup at my spot. And I don't know if like the wait staff, somebody threw them out or whatever. Nobody knew what happened to them, or they got lifted. I don't know. Maybe they thought they were real. Maybe they just thought they were nice. I don't know. But that was like the one time I got to wear them. I got to wear those earrings for 5 minutes. Thank you very much. But anyway, so the same time I bought that, I found this red raincoat, like trench coat. And I always thought that trench coats were so chic and sophisticated. I really did. But I wore this thing, good Lord, every day through high school. If it was black and it was today, they would have thought that I was like concealing weapons, because that's, wore it through the hallways. I wore it into class, took it off, threw it on the back of my chair, put it back on, walked through the hallways. I'm telling you, I don't even know what the obsession was. It was just, it had tight here. It had puffy sleeves with like the, you know, like the fold in here. It was just long, and I was obsessed. But then I was like, became my thing. I loved red. I, realized then what my favorite color was. I kind of knew, like, it was always red, black, and white. And I feel like that was because of the marching band, or at least I thought so. But then it was like pink, gray, and white was a big thing in the early 80s or whatever. So I was like, maybe this just pastels of black, white, and red, and, like whatever. But then when I started to wear red, how it made me feel, how it made me look, people would compliment me and stuff too. So then that became like, oh, that's my favorite color. I wear all the time. So for those of you who don't know, I didn't finish high school with my high school class. I left high school the end of sophomore year. I finished sophomore year in summer school, and then I went to school for about the first semester of junior year, and then I went for the first day of senior year. Like, that was it. So I did eventually graduate, so it's not like I didn't graduate, but my situation in life had changed a lot, so my fashion followed suit. I became a person. I got a promotion at work, even though I was very young still. I became the price changer. So I had to dress a little differently, you know, so I got different clothes, dressed differently at work. I mean, still at the grocery store. Then I became the manager at a movie theater, and I had to dress a certain way for that. So a lot of my fashion choices, like, they were still choices, but a lot of like what I would spend my money on clothes was dictated by my work and my positions. And then I was pretty much just working for myself between babysitting, working at the nursery school. Nursery school was fun. I used to have Mickey Mouse pants. They were like, I loved my Mickey Mouse pants. I really wish I could just find pictures and stick them all in here for you, because I wish I had those Mickey Mouse pants again. I think you've seen me in my Christmas pants where I get like, there's got like candy all over them. The other one's got like lights all over them. But this was like giant Mickey heads that overlapped, so it looked like a pattern. Of course, it was black, white, and red. Because Mickey's black, white, and red. That's why we love him. Snoopy's black, white, and red, and that's why we love him. And Hello Kitty, she doesn't have much black on her, but she usually is white and red with a bow tie. She's got black eyes and yellow nose, pink nose. Depends on who you look at. Depends on which one it is. I don't know. But anyway, when I started working at AHRC, I started on the bottom, so we did like a lot of grunt work. So you had to wear clothes that were comfortable, flexible, and you didn't have to worry about if they got puked on, kind of, you know. So that was just like, you know, and then that was just like whatever filled that quota. But that's when I started to go out and go, you know, dancing and stuff. So that made like that's where my wardrobe had a complete split, like a complete 180-degree dichotomy. These were like knit pants and t-shirts, and this was like lace tops and, you know, great deconstructed jackets. You know, like, really, it was where my life, where my, you know, fashion sense split, whatever. But I loved it. I loved it. I was, you know, felt like I was in my early 20s, and that's when you find yourself, and that's when I found myself. I never wore makeup to work, but I wore makeup every time I went out. So it was kind of like you always carried your giant makeup bag with you because you had to be ready just to go out after work or whatever. But anyhow, so what I was very, like, tried to be a little, not on trend, but during the early 90s, there was a lot of trends, and you can decide which trend you wanted to be on, if that makes any sense. I think it's kind of similar that way now, but so it's kind of like doing like a whole trendy thing then. But when I started, I basically got a position of authority. So when I first became the assistant house manager, then I became a lead activities coach, which is just like, it's kind of like the assistant manager at a day program. I had to start getting more professional clothes. Not a whole professional wardrobe, because I didn't have to dress professionally 5 days a week. But like if we had a meeting If I had to go to the office for a meeting or a training, then I would want it to be a little bit more professional. So that's when I first started getting like slacks. I don't know what else to call them, because we've already referred to different kinds of pants. Can't just call them pants. We've already had like stretch knit pants, capris, jeans, right? These, I started to get like dress pants, like slacks. So it started just a couple of pieces. Then my big fashion amazing moment was really, I was built, like I mentioned, I had belly and thighs and a boot and like a booty. So it was like and I was kind of short-legged. There wasn't a lot of choices for me in pants. There really wasn't. I either had to get something that fit the booty and the legs nice and then like built the waist, or the opposite, or like things didn't fit my thighs properly. If they fit while I was standing but not when I was sitting, like just a whole mess. Well, I don't remember exactly what year it was, but it had to be around the 2004 to 2006 area. It might have actually been later than that. But Lane Bryant came out with the line of pants, and they don't carry them anymore, but they actually had shapes. So if you were a square or you were round or you were a triangle, that was the cut of the pants. And when I found yellow dots, which was like all over thickness, I tried them on for the first time. No, I'm not kidding. I wept and I screamed like they thought I passed out in the thing. Like I screamed. I was like, oh my. And then I was like, I started crying. They're like, what happened? What happened? I was like, these fit me perfectly. And I was blown away. Like to the point where I actually I had 3 pairs of blacks, because each shape came in 2 styles and many colors. So I had the 2 pairs of black that were like one in each style. I had a pair in brown, a pair in gray, a pair in navy blue. And I am going to change that one word to have, because they are such good quality. They were expensive. I got my first pair just about the time that I was, so it had to be, yeah. It had to be after 2006, because I was trying to rebuild my credit back up. Not rebuild it, but trying to build my score back up. That's what I was trying to do. So I was like, oh, I can get these. I got a Lane Bryant card, and I, earn points and get things, blah, 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 blah. I was able to buy this pair of pants. But then I was like, oh, so much money. I'm really cheap. I'm like, really? I mean, you guys think I spend a lot of money? I'm a very frugal person. I don't like to pay retail unless it's something like that. It has to come with a coupon or a discount code or something, So the subsequent pairs of pants, I went in every time I got, like, they had Real Woman dollars cash in, or if they had a 50% off sale or whatever, I was there. I was looking for my pants. I was like ready, good to go. I was also shopping online at the time too, so. But I still have them. They're such good quality and they fit me so well. I have 2 black suits. One is more casual because it has more of like a motorcycle jacket type of thing. The other one is just like the blazer that goes, I really wish I could remember that. And you'd think I would, because it was such an impactful moment, but the style of like the line of pants, they came out with coordinates. So like the jacket, it was the same sort of little bit of stretch in that polyester. It was just amazing. So I have a black suit. I have a black, more casual suit because it's got a more casual jacket. I have the navy blue suit, which is exactly like the black one, just in navy blue. And I have gray pants. I don't know if I still have the gray jacket, because of course I did downsize, like we did. But I made sure, like, those are, to me, are classic pieces. If somebody, God forbid, passes away, or I have to go to a job interview, this is like, they're classic. And that's where I was going to with the story. Around the mid 30s, early 30s, to mid 30s, that's when I started to realize that there are classic things that you need in your wardrobe. Every woman needs a black dress. I'm not going to say a little black dress because not everybody's comfortable in a little black dress, but the feel of a little black dress. Every woman should have a pantsuit for when it's appropriate, or a dress suit. Like if women don't wear pants, they just wear skirts, then like a skirt suit, like something professional, but classically cut, something that's not going to go out of style. You know, like the shoes that I wore with at the time, that was where I put my trend on. I just mentioned recently about, like, actually, I don't even think I shared that yet, but I gave away a 13 gallon bag, almost full. I will tell you, it was almost full. It was over half full of socks. I know. I had an entire drawer of my dresser dedicated to socks. They were neatly organized and everything, don't get me wrong. But I have, you know, like there's a whole story behind there. But that's where I would throw in my fashion. I would change the top. I would put on funky socks and wear cute shoes that were more on trend. So that's where I, like, you know, bust out of the suit to make it more fun and less, you know, like classic looking. So, now I have, like, I have t-shirts that I like to just do the, like, not the style of the moment, but if the cheap t-shirt's inexpensive enough, then I can just get it. If I get a cheap t-shirt and it fits me and then it gets dried and I throw, you know, I already give it away. I don't care because it was cheap. At least I always tell, my famous line is, well, we got our $5 worth, or I got my $2 worth, or whatever it is out of it, whatever we're talking about. So, I moved here. I brought everything that survived the flood. I brought everything that survived the flood that could fit, and clothes-wise, everything that survived the flood. What I did was, when my clothes got all disgusting flood waters on them, I took everything to the group home, because I was allowed to because I lived there. I took everything to the group home and I washed everything in a bleach water solution. So I start the machine fill it up with water, detergent, and bleach. And if they were dark colors, then I would do, oh my gosh, what's the disinfectant? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. But there was something else that was like a disinfectant. But I threw it in the wash and I was like, it's not going to get any more ruined than it is now. Like, nothing's going to get worse. You know what I mean? If it gets bleach spots on it, well, I could just throw it out. I was going to throw it out anyway. So basically, I tried to save everything. And I did really well. Like, some things, I think it was paint that was in my house, but like the flood water kind of like collected this orange paint. And the orange paint landed on some things in weird spots. Like, some was in my dad's room and some in my bedroom and then some in the living room. So some things got this orange paint on it that wouldn't come out. And I didn't get to salvage any of those clothes. But I brought everything that I owned here. And I tried to find a job. Found a little job. We had a big garage sale. I just sold everything that was like trendy at the time, that I just was like, okay, like all my little camouflage capris, which now I'm kicking myself in the pants because I really miss them and I really like, oh, I could totally wear them right now. But I sold all that stuff at a garage sale. I made really good money because there weren't a lot of plus size stores around here. Then I lost my job, the little job that I had here, and the job that one job I had just wasn't worth it. Like, I wasn't earning any money at the end. And then the second job that I had was the exact same thing. Actually, the second job that I had was the police department, and that didn't work out for me. And then the third job that I had was the same thing. It was going to cost me more to start this job than it was for me to earn. So we got into like a different financial situation here. We ended up having to file bankruptcy. We had a lot of debt, like New York debt and Missouri money, just they don't really combine. So, and the fact that I wasn't able to find work, really made it, you know, a hardship. So I said to Jim, I'm like, I'm not comfortable getting rid of any more clothes. And he's like, but you don't wear this anymore. And I was like, but if the thing that I do wear wears out, I'll have a backup something. Because right now I don't have money to replace my clothes. So like if my legs, I have like chub rub is what it's called now, but you know, I often get holes around the crotch of my pants. That happens. And so I'm like, if they start to wear away or if I get bleach on them or whatever, then I have to, like, I want to have a backup. Well, when things started to improve, his job, our financial situation, I'm at the point, I mentioned it, I think in the autumn, where I finally was able to purge things. Just the things that I would never wear again, things that I don't have any interest in wearing again, because I know now that I can I'm not independently wealthy, but I can afford to replace things that wear. So, and I have been replacing them. So like I see 60% off at Lane Bryant. I'm totally there. Let me see what I can get. You know, you guys have seen it. You guys have seen it. So that's where I'm at right now. So I have still my classic pieces. I'm trying to buy clothes for the seasons. Believe it or not, it's actually kind of the seasons past. So like now I'm getting clearance stuff that's like wintry stuff. But like maybe springy stuff, and we're heading into summer. So that's just the way I've always done my wardrobe. Like, again, I don't like to pay full price. I'm sorry, this is bothering me. Give me 1 second. I don't like to pay full price. Are you kidding me? Sorry about that. I don't like to pay full price. So when sales come, I really try to take advantage of the sales. And now with apps like Rakuten and Retail Me Not, you know, different Ibotta, you can get different like coupon codes, and, you know, there's centrally located places for like savings basically. So that's my fashion story in a nutshell. My experience with clothes. That's what I'm going to title this video. Coffee chat. My experience with clothes. Another thing that happened in my, well, this isn't about clothes necessarily. This is about me. But when I was about 21 or 22, maybe a little earlier than that. No, I was 21 because I had already met Lisa. Well, no, because it started when I was a teenager. It started when I started working at the grocery store. I started to become more body positive. And it wasn't like a thing, you know what I mean? Like most girls who had weight issues had issues. But for me, I realized that it wasn't emotional. I wasn't fat because I was depressed. I wasn't fat because of anything that I was doing that was outside what I thought was the norm of my friends. I know now she can't eat the same thing I can eat, and we both have the same metabolism. But I realized at the time I felt like there wasn't really anything I could do. I was already on a diet all the time. I said, you know, since I'm 11, I got a ton of compliments like, you're so pretty if you could only lose some weight, or you have such a pretty face, or, you know, And like, it, at first it started to bother me, but then it built my confidence up because I'm like, you know what? They're not wrong. So I'm so modest, but you know, like that's what I had to start saying to myself, and that my weight, you know, I could keep it from getting bigger, but I really had trouble losing weight. Like I couldn't lose weight since forever. So it was what it was, you know. I was not properly nutritioned when I was growing up. So like my body wants to constantly be in storage mode, I feel like. But just like, you know, I eat a healthy balance now. I got a comment about like, I see you getting low carb wraps, but then you're eating ice cream. Exactly. I want ice cream. So what I got to do is eat a low-carb wrap instead of bread so I can have ice cream. Like, doesn't that even make sense? Like, why do I have to explain that to her? Why should I have to explain that in the comments? That makes perfect sense. If I'm allowed to have 100 carbs a day, and I'm not, I'm just picking a number. If I'm allowed to have 100 carbs a day, do I want to spend it on whole wheat bread? Or do I want to spend it on a bowl of ice cream? Or 2 scoops of ice cream, or a scoop of ice cream, whatever's in there. Do you know what I mean? So, plus I've mentioned before about the fat and all that stuff, but that's beside the point. But yeah, that's why I do it. That's why I have low carb wraps. That's why I eat lettuce burgers. So that I can go have dessert. I literally say that to, like, Jimmy. He's like, oh, you only want 1 piece? Yes, because I want to have a dessert. I want to have a snack. So it's about balance. It's really about balance. And I know that when I was younger, I had no balance. I just ate when food was available, what it was, who was, you know, whatever, you know. Yeah. So anyway, it was like around that time, from the time I was like about 17 or 18 till the time I was today. No, until I was in my mid-20s, my body positivity grew. My self-love grew tremendously. That I knew, like, my self-worth at the time. Like, I didn't know that other people didn't know their self-worth until I started talking to my friends, and then they were down on themselves, and I was like, you got everything. What? You're thin. You're beautiful. You've got these big blue eyes. What is the problem? Like, you're rich. What else do you want from life? But just, you know, you have to have it in you, I guess, or have somebody remind you that it's in there. So let's take this whole thing as I would like to remind you all one simple thing. The God that created the mountains, the flowers, and all the fish in the sea thought it was important enough to create the one and only you as well. That's how important you are to him. So that's how important you should be to yourself. Okay? And that's how important you are to me. It's really, really important to think that. People think that their lives are messed up or they're messed up, but sometimes it's just a messed up situation. So don't let today's messed up situation ruin your tomorrow. Because remember, you have survived 100% of your bad days. 100%. If you're going through something and you really need to chat, please just reach out to me. My email is mrsgarthb2, MRSGARTHB, with the number 2 at gmail.com. I am caught up on emails, and I'm doing them every day now, so that or at least every other day. Like, so yesterday I got like a whole day and I never touched them because I was working, but it won't be more than a day. So please, if you need to talk, just reach out to me. Again, you can direct message me on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger. These are platforms that I check on a regular basis. So if you need to talk, please don't hesitate. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. My life may be busy, but it's never too busy for friends. It really isn't. So thank you. I love you. I do. And as always, you guys take care. God bless. And we'll see you next time. Bye.